Hi guys, Jeff Mauro here. Thanks for joining me on this Food Network kitchen class. I am going to make one of my favorite super quick and easy and delicious recipes. It is called Agave-Glazed Shrimp. I'm going to show you how to handle that shrimp right, how to choose the right shrimp, how to get that beautiful sear on it, and how to make a glazy, shiny, luxurious sauce to coat it all. We're going to serve it over rice. I'm going to show you how to make rice just like that in 10 minutes. And this meal will be on this counter on your plate within 20 minutes. Super easy. So let's get started, shall we? All right, first things first comes the rice. I got this nifty little rice cooker. You could do this, listen, I do this cheat all the time at home. I'm not afraid to admit it. I buy the frozen rice. I pull it right out of the freezer. You microwave it, you have rice ready to go. But nothing is quite fluffy and beautifully steamed like fresh made rice. And we're gonna use brown rice because I'm going a little healthy, a little more fortified, got a little more fiber in it. It's good for you. We're gonna do a cup of that, and per the instructions on the bag, says a cup and 3/4 of water. I don't season my rice, I don't pre-season it, I just let the water and the rice do its thing, and we'll hit it up with a little secret sauce later. All right, we're gonna put that on, close it, keep an eye on it, and always keep it closed. You don't wanna release that steam in a rice cooker. Just leave it there. On to the shrimp. So these are 16-20 shrimp. What that means, 16 to 20 per pound, all right? It's how many they estimate will go in there, and it's like that perfect size where it's not gonna overcook like that, but while we get that hard sear on it. And to me, unless I'm eating cocktail shrimp, there's nothing better than that crusty, caramelized exterior of shrimp, right? You get a nice little bite in your teeth, and it's so nice and juicy in the middle. So these sizes are perfect. If you want to experiment with more jumbo varieties, you definitely can, but I would not go smaller than 16-20 because we are going to marinate it just a little bit. So let's start with that marinade using, this is what I had on hand when can you guess what this is at home? Can you? All right, it is clementines. You can use tangerines, you can use oranges, right? Any nice, bright, sweet citrus fruit will do. And we're gonna get, I don't know, a couple tablespoons of that. So we're just gonna have these, and we are going to add them to our bowl right here. You could see that, beautiful. Subtle sweetness. We don't want, too much of this because we don't wanna overpower that shrimp with, orangey flavor. Got a boom. See that? Not a lot of seeds in this fruit, so I'm not using the citrus squeezer, but if it's a regular orange, sometimes you get a ton of seeds, and I'd rather do the dishes with this thing and try to extract a citrus seed out of liquid, which is very difficult sometimes. Let's grab the rasp here. Now, usually when I'm using the juice of a citrus, you got to get the zest. There's no point in not doing both. So we're going to juice a lime here in a second, right over the bowl. We're going to zest it. Give it a nice little fruitier note, direct fruity, aromatic quality to the zest. You don't want to waste. Right over the bowl. Right? That's it. Beautiful. Now we can cut it because it's pretty impossible to zest cut juiced fruit. It is not impossible, but it's slightly more or less impossible. Okay, so let's, save some time. Zest first, juice second. Now there are some seeds in this, so I will, boom. So we got about 2 tablespoons of orange juice in there. Nice little hit of that lime juice. Shrimp, lime, great, great, combination. When we're using a lot of kind of Latin, Mexican spices in this, so we got the orange, we got the lime, and we got a couple other dry seasonings that we'll show you in a second. Just a little pinch of that. And remember, we want a good amount of juice in here because this will be reduced in a second to help glaze the shrimp post-grilling. All right? To help fortify the sauce, give it a little more liquid so we can reduce it later, we're going to do about a 1/4 cup of good chicken stock. If you want to keep this, I don't know, non-chickeny or you can use vegetable stock or a shrimp stock if you find it. It's a little bit in there. Beautiful. A 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, which is going to give it that kind of floral, spicy note to it. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle powder, which is going to bring smoke and a little heat. Next comes our agave syrup, which is going to obviously bring the agave in the agave-glazed shrimp recipe, but also sweeten it up, which I love with shrimp. Shrimp loves a little sweetness to it. And it's going to help caramelize on the grill and get that char that we love. 2 tablespoons right in there. put that in our bowl. A little bit of salt. Now we can whisk. We got our shrimp peeled and deveined. So what I did is went to the fish guy at the grocery store, who of course I formed a nice relationship with, so he hooks it up, right? Whether you're ordering from the butcher, the delicatessenier, or the fish guy or fishmonger at your grocery store, be nice to him. Greet him with a smile. Say, hi, how you doing today? Good, don't just go up there and be like, 3 pounds of shrimp now. Point being, I got these shrimp peeled and deveined from my fish guy. If you got frozen stuff too, just fine. Just make sure you properly defrost it, maybe with some paper towels, and extract all that moisture post-defrostation. It's a word. Into the marinade, 16 to 20 shrimp, and we are gonna let these little beautiful puppies of the sea marinate for about 15, 20 minutes. Anything more, the acid is gonna start cooking the shrimp, and we're gonna get into ceviche territory. But 15, 20 minutes, it's enough to kind of soak in all that flavor and help even flavorize everything. So 10, 15 minutes, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and I'll see you in 10, 15. All right, hey guys, welcome back. You've had time to marinate your shrimp, and look at it. It's beautiful, 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. Remember, you do not want to cook it through, because when it starts cooking through, it does start changing color, but all that citrus flavor, all those spices penetrated the flesh of that shrimp. It's going to make for a delectable bite. Let's strain it, because we are going to reserve this marinade and reduce it for a nice kind of glazy sauce here. So right over another bowl, get all that out, and we are going to put it over a fine mesh strainer, give it a little toss, so all that stuff kind of comes loose of the shrimp and drips into this bowl. And what you want to do now is put this shrimp on a plate that is covered in paper towels. The enemy of caramelization, of char, of, a sear is moisture, water, right? So we want to we got it in there, we got the flavor in there. We don't really need any more marinade on there. We're going to season it in a second, but what we want to do is pat it dry to kind of dehydrate the surface of that shrimp, so when it hits the grill, it's nothing but sizzle, nothing but caramelization, nothing but char. So I got to kind of spread these into one layer here. Very easy and clean to do without having to muck up your hands too. So just use the tongs you just used, and we will now pat it dry with another layer of paper towels. All right, just like this. Got that marinade, and the bottom layer is going to help dab it. The top layer is going to dab it. Look at that. Dry as a bone. And that's exactly what we're looking for. I got my grill pan here on my stovetop at about a medium-high heat. All right, again, we don't want to steam this up at all. So we remove the moisture, but we do want to create that beautiful bite with the char on the outside. So I got this pretty high, right? If you don't have a grill pan or even a grill outside at home, you can use it in the same skillet. We're going to reduce the sauce, and you get that nice and piping hot. Sear it maybe in batches or all at once, depending on how large of a skillet. Nothing less than 12 or 14 inches. I'm going to hit the outside of this right now, just this one side, and we'll put it on seasoned side down onto our grill with a little salt. I know we put some salt in there earlier, but remember, we've kind of soaked in that marinade, but removed most of it when, of the exterior. So you want to make sure every bite is seasoned. I got some vegetable oil to paint directly on our grill here, just to help in the nonstick properties of that. Any neutral oil will do. Something high smoke point. But for this, we're using good old vegetable oil, right? You can see it's hot. We are smoking, and I like that. Now, seasoned side, we're going to put that directly on the grill, and when you hear that snizzle right on there, we are working with the proper heat. And I like to kind of stick to the areas where the heating element is, because this usually is the cooler part in the middle, in between the two heating elements or flames. So we're going to try to stick right there. And I already smell kind of all those spices, the citrus, caramelization from the sugar and the agave. But this is a great healthy meal, good Monday night meal. If you're looking to tune up after a long weekend, right? Went out, hit the club, bottle service, champs, right? Sparklers in bottles of vodka being brought to your table. Who's doing that still? Probably nobody watching this right now in the Food Network Kitchen app. Not the demo, but listen, it could be sitting in your backyard with your best friends and family like I do, eating meat, drinking some nice heady beers, and enjoying and celebrating life. So now it's time, Monday, it's time to pay the piper, and that's what we're doing with this very fresh shrimp here. All right, we got that going. I'm gonna keep this right here. I'm gonna turn up my pan here, and then I'm gonna bring my sauce up to a simmer really quick. I don't like pouring, when I'm doing this, I don't like to pour it in a piping hot pan. Then you just get a too hard and aggressive of a simmer going right at first, and you're losing so much of that liquid into the atmosphere that just, minute it hits the pan, evaporates. So this way, we can kind of gently bring it up, keep an eye on it, season as we go. We got our shrimps. I'm not gonna move it, leave it be. Let the shrimp and the heat do their thing, co-mingle, get to know each other, create that char, all right? Start, you know, this is a process you can't rush. Shrimp doesn't take a long time to cook, right? 2-3 minutes aside at the most with these 1620s. So you don't want to impede in that caramelization or that char by keep flipping it and moving it. But we do want to check it, especially with the guys we put on first, which I believe was right over by here. So look at, guess what's, okay. Yes, that one's good to go. And once it releases, then you know it's ready. If it's not releasing, guess what that means? You're rushing it. Don't rush it, right? So that one's still there. Look at that one, perf, see? Char, crunch, flavor, texture, color, all the things we love in cooking, right? Oh yeah. So these have been on for about 2 minutes there. I'm keeping an eye on my sauce. We're real-time cooking here on the Food Network Kitchen app. That's what I love about this. I do not have a team. It's me. It's just me here, right? And one of my uncles with a smartphone. That's it. But seriously, we're doing this all real time. This is how quick and easy this is. This guy's gonna come undone. Look at that. Look at that. That's because we patted it down. Little seasoning on this end too. I did not do that, so I'll just put it right on there. Look at that. Oh. Gently peel it back. Look at, oh, you see that? Look at that. That's what we're looking for. We have our sauce to stir. We're reducing that citrus juice in there. We got the clementine. We got the lime. We got the agave, the spices, cumin, little smokiness from the chipotle. Now these guys, so I put them on, we're gonna let them cheese. Oh, that's a pretty one. That's a pretty little shrimps. We didn't eat a lot of shrimp growing up in my house because my dad, Gus, is severely allergic. So when we go out to dinner a lot, we would be ordering the shrimps because it was like twofold. One, we never got it at home. B, my dad couldn't taste the food, therefore not being able to eat half of the children's food. So my mom, even to this day, usually orders shrimp, and that is a fact. And I think she does it just to spite my father. They've been married like, you know, I don't know, a century. So, you know, they, you know, like most married couples, they do things to get on each other's nerves, but they love each other, and shrimp is the reason they've stayed together. Because she gets to eat her own food without one of the Mauro men dipping into her plate, which I'm guilty of with my wife and my son. That's why they tend to order things I don't like, which there's not a lot of, because I like it all, except cottage cheese, which is gross. Look at this. Couple minutes, charred shrimps, reducing the sauce. My rice, let's check on it. Ooh, it's perfect, right? It's nice and steamed in there. Now we want to get this to a fairly glossy glaze here, right? A nappe consistency, which I'll show you in a second. Now, look at, let's see. Those ones we put on are just about, look at, yes. Now, how do you know when a shrimp is done? You could take the temp, but once it goes from opaque to pink all the way through on both ends, especially kind of right up the gut there, right? You can kind of see it look like cooked shrimp or look like lobster or whatever. We're good to go. Like, I'm gonna actually take these guys off, put them in a bowl while we finish our sauce. You do not want to overcook these. So it's best to let that carryover cooking finish these shrimp when you take them off the grill. You take them 90 85 to 90% of the way there, they're gonna finish cooking just with the residual heat right off the grill. And then remember, we're gonna put it back in there to glaze them, so you could check. All right, let me see. This one, right? There we go. Let me show you this. So we're looking at our shrimp here. How do you know it's not cooked yet? You kind of look in there and it's still got this, you know, there's pink hue in the middle there. It's not quite there. We'll put it back on the grill. Whereas this one, you can see it's a perfectly cooked through. Go right on there. Look at this. Oh, yeah, that's good to go. That's it. Now, how do you know we're good, right? Is that you see that. This doesn't take a lot, but you look at the back of a spoon, drag through it. Oh, it's so good, right? We reduced it enough where the sauce is not kind of enclosing back into the strip I just drew with my finger. It's perfect. Ready to go? Oh, yeah. And you know what? This shrimp is done. It's going right in the glaze. Stuffed directly from the grill. A little of this glaze goes a long way. All right, remember that. We seasoned the shrimp. We marinated the shrimp. We got this super concentrated glaze. All that citrus juice in it. We're gonna give it a nice little toss here. Get it shiny, right? I don't want it soupy, I want it glazed. There's a difference between a sauce and a glaze. A glaze coats your protein or your vegetable or whatever you're glazing, envelops it, right? Like wearing a beautiful puffy parka in the middle of winter, it just kind of encapsulates it without drippage. All right, a sauce, it's sitting in there, it's slurpable. This is a glaze. You want it to coat that shrimp, be finger licking, sticky, and that's what we're doing. We're gonna give it a couple tosses. Right, when you're doing this at home, right, you could just use a spoon, but if you are tossing, doing this fancy chef move you see us all doing, practice it, right? It's hard to articulate how to exactly do it, but you always go forward and then back first, using this back rear portion of the pan to kind of as a you know, a pushing element to go back up, right? Like as a, I don't know what you would call it, but boom, see? I'm using the back of the pan. But you can see that. Look at this, beautifully glazed. Look how good that looks. Let's get our rice plated nicely here. Now, I don't like just dumping rice. I don't know, I like to make it fancy and add a nice little layer. So we're gonna do that, a little rice vinegar directly into that. Right, just move it around a little bit, fluff it up first. Whether you're microwaving your rice, baking your rice, or steaming your rice, or using a rice cooker like this, season it a little bit afterward, just for some texture. And this is going directly on the plate. So if you have a spoon, right, just like this, we're going to spoon it down, compress it in there, so you got yourself stray grains right on there. Voila, fancy schmancy. Look who's charging money for his family's dinner tonight. This guy, Jeff Mauro. You too at home. Now you're gonna take that shrimp, right? Beautiful. We're gonna put it right on there. Oh man. Oh man. Look at that. Beautiful. Agave-glazed shrimp. It's collapsing. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh man, let me put one more on there. Super glazed one. Garnish with maybe if you got any toasted sesame seeds, a little fresh herb, whatever you have laying around. But there's so much flavor right here in this right now. I feel it needs nothing else except a proper bite, which is what I'm about to do. The grill. That's the best. That's so good. That's one of the best texture and flavored bites of shrimp I've had in a very long time. Proper amount of heat, just to kind of wake your palate up a little bit without like blowing it out. But it tastes orangey, it tastes limey. We use that kind of subtle citrus from that clementine, which kind of just gives that sweetness and that fruitiness we love. A little bit of agave to help caramelize it. We charred it properly, so you got the texture and kind of that crunch from the outside of the shrimp, which I love. Lovely rice from the seasoned rice, but I mean, what do you got to say? You got to make this. We made it together. I hope you followed along at home. Hope your family's chomping at the bit right now, banging on the dinner table. And if they are, they're rude, okay? Hold it up a little bit. Why don't you sit here and enjoy your plate with me, right? While they're sitting there banging on the table. But me and you, we did this together. And I applaud you. I salute you. Thank you very much. This has been my Agave-Glazed Shrimp. I am Jeff Mauro.